Going on to you Taurus out there. Hope y'all are having a great day. So, all right. So smash the like button and go to the comment section and also leave a comment so that you can be more connected into the energy of this reading. Listen, there's a link also in the comment section below called the Linktree link. Click on it. It will redirect you to a website which has all the ways to be able to financially support the channel. So I can most definitely keep the show going. Shout outs to all you Taurus out there. So let's get into it. So the first three cards you have is the Seven of Cups, the King of Cups, and then you have the Three of Swords, right? All right, so the Seven of Cups represents how it is that a lot of you Taurus, yeah, you've changed your physical, I ain't gonna say, how do I put this? You haven't really changed your physical appearance too much. You've just pretty much just taken care of yourself. And you always were that attractive up underneath all of that. But the problem is you Taurus probably wouldn't allow yourselves to actually accentuate your own physical beauty. However, the Seven of Cups represents now you're going through a non-physical transformation as well, right? Another spiritual transformation, where the next spiritual transformation that you're currently in is that a lot of you Taurus have to understand that, you know, your mentality has to go from one state or one estate to another estate, right? One status to another status. And what I mean by that is going from the idea of you Taurus having difficulties in relationships to now beginning to understand why, right? Because it's one thing to be oblivious. It's one thing to not know, but it's another thing to know. And now you know why it is that said relationships or the way when you interact with others, things seem to be going awry. It doesn't necessarily work the way that you planned it in your imagination. And the reason for that is because you Taurus are beginning to realize that part of it is the self-doubt. When people will try to tell you that you garbage, you would listen to it. And like it is that I said before, you know, like it is that I said before, you know, everybody wants to find out how is it that they can, you know, become more thicker skinned, so to speak, right? Figure out how is it that they can go on with the rest of their day without having to deal with kind of the personal issues of the world. And to be honest with you, and this is some of the transformation, you know, it's called the hero's journey in some literature. It's called the dark night of the soul in other literature, in other forms of literature. Honestly speaking, you know, that's really what it is that you're going through. You have to go through a situation with yourself, a transformation within your own self, where you make the active, conscious decision that you are comfortable abandoning what society wants you to be. And see, that's the situation, because, you know, because when you abandon society, right, and their expectations, they expect you to be a normal, average Joe or Jane. But when you abandon society and you say, you know what, bump this. I'm going to live my life specifically tailored to me in a way that specifically fits and works for me, you're going to encounter a lot of people trying to shame you. And this is what the Seven of Cups represents in this reading. It represents you going from the bottom to now, right? The bottom being looked at as disgraceful, right? You needing to change certain elements within yourself, and then now making those specific changes, those changes that are tailored to you. But now the next step in your evolution is not being ashamed of those changes, because even though, like I said before, you're physically attractive and all of that, you're still kind of somewhat ashamed of your own physical attractiveness. So the thing is that the King of Cups now is about how, so a lot of you Taurus are learning to work through this, like it is that I was just talking about. And now the next step about this whole situation is the King of Cups is really a person that can also, again, you're learning to, the King of Cups is a person that, it's Neptune. So it represents a person that can manage that same situation where it's like you're learning how to become more comfortable in your own skin, where it's like, yeah, you're physically attractive, but you also have other attributes that you can offer as well. It's not just your body, right? You have a wonderful imagination, you're creative, and then on top of that, you know, good company, you know, depending on the situation, good conversationalist. And, you know, if a person is willing to meet you halfway, and if you care about them enough, you know, you will. Because I know plenty Taurus in real life. My brother's a Taurus, you know. One of my good friends in the past, he's not my good friend anymore, but he's a Taurus. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I know plenty Taurus. You know, I've actually, you know, have gotten to know a couple of Taurus just in passing, as far as romantically. Nothing ever really stuck, as far as we really didn't have enough time to actually be with one another. But did I feel anything for the Taurus? Yeah, you know, I mean, that's something that could have potentially grew, you know. But are Taurus beautiful? Absolutely they are. Especially, you know, especially if they're just a beautiful, physically attractive, just physically attractive individual, period. And then not only that too, then you mix in the whole Taurus element in it. You're like, yeah, this person is a striker, you know, strikingly beautiful. And the thing is that the Three of Swords now represents how, and one thing that you Taurus are gonna have to learn too. And I don't know if I said this. I haven't said this in my other Taurus readings. The Three of Swords represents you Taurus are gonna have to learn that you're going to be frustrated in your romantic pursuits, because Taurus, like it is, as I said before, Taurus is one of those zodiac signs where it's like, it's seen, Taurus is one of those zodiac signs that is seen as like the Medusa, where it's like the Medusa is the mythology, or I should say the real story of this, of the Medusa type of thing, is the person being so strikingly beautiful or handsome to the point where, you know, people freeze in their tracks. So you have to understand that that whole intimidation piece, there is something there. Now, I'm not saying that, you know, people should really, you know, put the battery in their own back and start tooting their own horn, so to speak, and start, you know, having the mentality of, oh, look at all these people that I'm intimidating, nor should they want to. But it's more so in that regard, right? Because it just spells people are not going to be in a relationship with you. But it's more so intimidating from the perspective of the people who don't really have the guts to actually come up to you and say something. Those are going to be individuals that, you know, you will see, because these would be people that will come up to you and talk to you and get to know you potentially, but then at the same time it's like they'll flake or they'll try to disappoint you. And this is what it is I've been saying to you Taurus about how it is that you really shouldn't, you know, we all got to get to a point, especially over here on this channel, but we should really want to get to a point where, you know, the drawbacks or the faults and the follies of dating really don't get too much to us like that. Yeah, it can be frustrating, but it really doesn't get too much to us like that. And the reason why is because I told y'all Taurus, right? I was telling y'all about how it is that, you know, when you are an individual that gets flaked on a lot, it doesn't necessarily mean that people are turned off by you. That's not necessarily what that means all the time. I mean, is that one of those possibilities? Sure. But if you're carrying yourself to a certain level of regard and you showing up, you got to understand that with that being said, some people are naturally not going to want to go out with you. They're going to flake. And now you thinking to yourself, really? Because they're going to flake on you because they don't have the heart to actually go through with it. That's part of the reason why it is that people will flake, and you'll be surprised why it is that people will flake. See, this is the reason why it is I say a million times, can't listen to these dating coaches, because the dating coaches, look, at the end of the day, I'm not going to tell you who you can and can't listen to. Okay? I got to go ahead and take that back. Listen to whoever it is that you want to listen to. Okay? We are adults at the end of the day. I'm not going to sit up here and tell you that. But just know what it is that you're getting into. Because what the dating coaches will do is, the dating coaches, they aggravate you, or they enrage you and amp you up by essentially insulting your ego, right? They want your ego to be involved in this. That will get you enough anger to do something about it, because you're all frustrated. Because the truth of the situation is, people flake for a bunch of reasons that you, Taurus, wouldn't even think that they are. So the Three of Swords represents, just prepare yourself for the choppiness of the sea. That's why it is that you got the King of Cups, the Nine of Cups, and the Lovers represents here that you have to be confident within yourself. You have to be stable within yourself enough to know that you can't go with the fake fair weather interactions that you have with people. Because it's not even so much of the actual person, it's much more of the ideology. You being so attractive, right? And you wouldn't even think of yourself as being that, but the person is putting you up on a pedestal, and they can't go out on a date with you because they flake, because now it's, I want to hang out with you, but I can't because my feet won't move, because I don't have the heart to leave my residence to come meet you, because I like you so much, and I'll put you up on a pedestal to the point where I'm almost like scared. But a lot of times people will take that as an insult, like, oh, this person flaked. What's going on? This is why it is that people encourage you to play the game, because when you're not playing games, this is what I'm trying to say. Excuse me. When you're not playing games, you applying too much pressure to the situation. You someone that's attractive, they putting you up on a pedestal, and you're not playing games on top of it. You actually coming in with a lot of different attributes to yourself that benefit not only yourself, but could also benefit another person. That person will fall out. That's what I'm trying to say. That person will fall out. That person will legitimately have a fallout. They could faint. If they're that caught up with that, they could faint. Because the Five of Cups now and the world, right, is about how it is that the world represents Taurus, okay? Because Taurus rules over the world. It rules over the planet Earth. Taurus rules over Venus, the moon to a certain extent, and the Earth to a certain extent, right? Right. So, yeah, so so as it is I was talking about, so the Five of Cups is about how, so you have to learn to leave the regret behind, because you will be upset if you know what I'm saying, like, if you don't really get it through your head that you are more desired than what it is that you think that you are, because you'll be racking your brain trying to figure out what is going on. What's going on is more face-to-face interactions is becoming more face-to-face romantic, specifically interactions, is becoming more not appreciated, because so many people have an online persona versus who they are. I don't. I don't even know how I would try something like that. But anyway, so how do I explain this? So it's like when like people can say whatever it is that they want to from the comfort of wherever they are behind the iPhone, or behind the iPhone lens, or the computer screen, right, that they're looking into. And that's the situation, because the world now represents the world, and the Six of Wands represents. This is why it is I was trying to tell you about how it is that you have to learn to become comfortable being single first, because single people who are playing the game keep themselves and other people single. Badly, right? You know, take a look at that balloon popping show. How it is that when one person pops, the other, so many other goofy, instead of them learn to think for themselves and say, is this something that I would particularly want? Why would I pop my balloon, right? Why would I dub this person? Why would I say next to this person? Let me do a little bit more investigation into this person. You know, that show just proves how goofy dating has become. You know, now I don't necessarily have a problem with the gimmick of the show, because it's actually creative, right? But what's goofy about it is the pure stupidity of why people keep themselves single, because they're trying to play this game. Oh, you disqualified the person because of their shoes and stuff like this. You disqualified the person because of X, Y, Z. You disqualified the person because the person has a hat on. It's like they could just take their hat off. Like, what is up with the excess? Like, what is there any old reason? But this is what it is that they teach you in the game. One of the first things that they teaching you in the game, when they're being when they really want to give you a lot of information, people gonna disqualify you for anything, even if it's stupid, because most people are in the game. Most people are in this egocentric game. That's why it is that the majority of people on earth, this is why it is I said many times, all these people sitting up here talking about on the internet, talking about saving that's not how it's going to happen. That's not how it's going to happen now. Because if it was supposed to happen like that, it would have happened. The majority of people are in the game. The majority of people want to be in the game. They're not built for a successful relationship. That's the truth, period. You dig? So I'm saying all that to say the Five of Pentacles and the Hermit now represents. So for you, Taurus, you have to understand that when people reject you, 9 chances out of 10, it's probably not even, they don't even want to hang out with you. It's probably because they have somebody, they're in the game, and they're trying to bump their gums and act like because a lot of times people will disqualify people because they're trying to raise their value. They're trying to act like they're better. That's why it is that whenever it is that so many people, you see a lot of those videos talk about the bare minimum, they also talk about what it is that what their minimum is, right? And their standard is because that's game. Yeah, that's game. That's something that a lot of those pickup artists will use, right? Or that they observe when they're trying to talk to people about how it is that when people reject you and then they'll do that, what they're doing is they're trying to be exclusive. They're trying to raise their value. They're trying to impose. They're trying to be like, hey, this is what is. That's why it is I tell y'all, don't get so bent out of shape about that. What you, Taurus, have to understand is You got to become okay being single. And a lot of times people will be like, well, what are you talking about? Because most people, number one, right, and it's you becoming a warrior, because number one, most people are in the game, so that means that they're gonna reject you. Most people are not interested in, nor do they even have the heart for that matter. That's why it is that you got the King of Cups. That's why the King of Cups came up. That's why the Nine of Cups and the Lovers came up, because most people do not have the heart to not play games. Most people are weak, dry bones. Most people are weak. They need the game, because most people don't have the heart. They don't have the chest. They don't have the lungs. You understand what I'm saying? To be able to be in a relationship, to be in a successful one where there's no drama. Because these are people who like the drama. This is why it is, like I said before, I'm not with everyone here. My channel is not with all the other tarot reading and relay or whatever kind of channels, because for me, I understand it from a bigger picture. You're not supposed to be trying to save the dating scape. You're supposed to let it rot away and just get with who is good. Get with people who are great. But prior to that, stop trying to save everybody. The saving everybody is going to be the problem. So let's clarify the Hermit. Let's clarify the Hermit. So to clarify the Hermit, you have the Wheel of Fortune. Sorry about that. The Wheel of Fortune, the Hanged Man, the Nine of Pentacles, yeah, Chariot, and then you have the Hierophant, which is Taurus and Sagittarius. So you showed up in your own reading, Taurus. So basically, the Wheel of Fortune and the Hanged Man over here represents you, Taurus, having, this is very profound, because the Wheel of Fortune and the Hanged Man represents all your issues, all of your times that you've been rejected in your life. You don't even see yourself. You don't even realize that part of the reason why it is that they more than likely rejected you was because you, Taurus, always been physically attractive. But what the flaw about you is they've taken advantage of the fact that you, Taurus, didn't really understand your own value. And the thing is that the Nine of Pentacles represents, now that you are starting to understand your own value, not in an arrogant and overconfident way, but you're starting to understand it from a perspective of like, you're seeing what it is that I'm talking about, right? The Chariot and the Hierophant is about how it is that, so now you, Taurus, now have a warrior spirit, because you understand now that most people don't have the heart. They don't have the heart, right? They don't have the heart, because the way, because I'm going to tell you like this, right? Because the way that one side approaches and the way that another side approaches, like, what is going on? Was that an earthquake? Yo, I got to finish this real quick. I'll go ahead and holler at y'all.